Welcome to week 5 of our series called Rebound, Coming Back Together. Well, we've learned a lot together recently, and thank you so much for hanging in there all the way here to week 5. Last week was protecting from external forces, and today we're going to dig into protecting internally. So what's happened so far in the story, just to give a little recap for you, is Nehemiah has come from being a cupbearer to the king to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem that have been in peril for so long. And so as he's building, though, there's been some opposition that's coming. Some people just don't want this wall to be built. And so chapter 4 focused on how to defeat those enemies who want to destroy the work of God. And now in chapter 5, now that the attacks from the outside seem to be at bay, there's this internal fighting. The rich people, the nobles, the officers, they're actually selling land, which is a good thing, but they're charging interest over above what they need. So the poor are remaining poor. They can't feed themselves. The poor children are being sold into slavery as debt. And this is Jews doing this to Jews. It's almost like, they're coming back from exile. They finally are no longer enslaved by their enemies, only to be now enslaved by their own people from inside. We read in Psalm chapter 11, verse 3, that if the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? Satan obviously used tactics from the outside to give opposition to Nehemiah, and that didn't work. And so whenever something doesn't work from the external, Satan likes to get in on the inside. And this is what's happening. Jews are mistreating Jews. Instead of cooperating with each other, there was this competition between the rich and the poor. And then Nehemiah steps in and basically says, hey, guys, knock it off. In verse 9 of chapter 5, he says to the nobles, to the officers, after he called them together, and said, guys, knock it off. Shouldn't you be walking in fear of our God to avoid the reproach of our Gentile enemies? See, what Nehemiah is saying here is we need to act like the people of God. We need to take care of each other. We need to look and love and lean on each other so that when the outside world looks in on us, they say, now that's how you're supposed to treat each other. But this wasn't happening in Nehemiah. So Nehemiah says, guys, this needs to stop. This isn't how we act. You need to return the land, the houses, the children. We're actually buying back for these people. Just knock it off. It's okay to incur debt, but according to Jewish law, he was reminding them of this, we don't charge interest and we don't enslave our own. Now, this should be common sense, but how many times in the Christian community do we fight? Local churches fighting against each other, local churches being more competitive than they are cooperative with each other. Now, this a lot of times falls on church leadership to just say, listen, your church might be bigger. Some people might have migrated to your church, but here is the bigger picture. We're all part of the family of God. We're all doing this together. We're all zoomed out. We're all believers here. Let's get along so that when the outside world looks at the church being the church, loving each other, they're going to want what we have and to be a part of what we have. That is what the church is to do. Our purpose as the church is to seek and save the lost. Well, we can't be doing that when we ourselves are acting like the lost. So church member, what do you need to do? Are you quarreling with a brother and sister in Christ? Get over it and move on for the sake of the gospel. We need to all cooperate, not be competitive with one another. We need to look, we need to love, and we need to lean on each other. Have a blessed week.